How are we doing tonight? I hope everyone had a fantastic weekend, and we are back here with some more DHan educational content. So let's get into the Zarya, I guess. Okay, so already we can tell that the sensitivity is twitchy, and so that means that's going to be a very high sensitivity. So it's going to be very interesting to see how we exactly track on things. To start. Second thing, you shot a little bit and then you just decided to reload. Definitely didn't need to pop a reload there. And honestly, I don't know why we're backing up here and giving the Zarya some space. We are full health. I probably would have just stood in this opening, taken some damage, popped a bubble so that we're getting some charge off of here. Because we still have yet to use any bubbles or retain any amount of charge. You pop a bubble, but you decide to go to cover. So you do get 30 from it, but you definitely could have gotten 40 from it. Okay. So you clearly know that the Mei is here. You clearly know the Mei is waiting to wall. So I'm surprised that you decide to give in and go through the choke. When what I probably would have done is just walk up the stairs and try to do something maybe up here. To get through. Let's see why else we die here. Well, obviously we get walled off. Like, yeah, you basically die just because yeah, you just get walled off. Now, obviously, something you could have done there is maybe pressure the Mei a little bit more. Maybe she uses wall early. She uses wall early. Now she doesn't have wall, so now you can push in. Everyone always sends a King's Row game.
Stay outnumbered. Watch out.
Thought they could keep me down.
Yeah, we... Okay, so use a bubble to cleanse. When you play Zarya, chat, the first things you need to do when you play Zarya is get your charge high. Once you get your charge high, then you can start focusing on using bubbles only for cleansing or only for saving. But the two first bubbles that you do are going to supposed to be the highest charge that you can get, so you're actually somewhat of a threat to the enemy. And then you kind of hold on to that ult charge by just putting save bubbles on people. We're not seeing a lot of early bubbles to gain any charge here, and so that's probably why you're falling behind against the Zarya to Zarya matchup, because their Zarya is clearly rotating bubbles a ton. And if we looked at their Zarya's point of view, we probably would be able to see that. But yeah, you're like holding on to these bubble charges, and so you're fighting a Zarya like, you know, at 0 charge, while she's fighting you at 80 charge. So you're still at 0 charge. You have not bubbled any allies. You're not going to kill anyone at 0 charge. 0 charge is actually like weaker than Moira's damage, I believe. So you really got to be looking for your bubbles and getting some charge. Once we get some charge, then we can actually start doing something. Yeah. We also don't have a team here. Sorry, kind of just walked over our entire team. And even here, you're trying to get out, and you still aren't using your bubbles to get out. I mean, I mean, you used both there, but you used both there while you were the only target to focus. And you kind of walked into the Zarya when you could have probably pathed on the other side of the bus. Main issue I'm seeing right now is bubble usage. We, in general, just don't know how to get bubble value. Okay. You also are reloading a ton. Zarya has 100 clips. She does not need to be reloading all this much. Something else I'm seeing, if your ammo ever drops below 25, you should right click, because that's going to give you more damage. For instance, if I have like 10 ammo left, instead of like using my beam, I should probably right click, because I'll do more burst damage, but also doing that burst damage is going to expend all of my ammo efficiently. Yeah, the sensitivity seems pretty high, too. I'd probably end up turning that down. A lower sensitivity, and you probably would have been able to track that Juno. What's up, Bobby? Also, big 18 months, Saf. That's the length of 2 kids. Okay. Okay, big issue here. So you're shooting a bubbled Zarya for one. Soldier, who's low, or sorry, who's a squishy, runs straight out in front of you, and you're still focused on the Zarya when you easily could flick over to the soldier and probably kill the soldier with how ballsy he's playing. You just look over, shoot, right-click, shoot, and he's already dead. Instead, you just give the Zarya a ton of charge. Soldier's still behind you. And yeah, you're kind of just like left on your own because you're not enforcing any of the space you're taking. You're letting the enemy basically run right past you, and you're focused on the Zarya so much. Should not be focused on the Zarya. Zarya's going to die if you kill her team. And don't shoot her bubbles. Now, most Zaryas that are at low rank are probably only going to use their bubbles on themselves, as we have been seeing. So, that's why you don't shoot the Zaryas. Another thing, if you want more burst potential, you're going to want to shoot, right-click, shoot. It does a lot more damage output per second than just holding a beam down. The reason you would want to hold the beam down is if you're trying to track something, like potentially someone in the air, like a flyer, or just do consistent damage to something like a shield. Other than that, the right clicks and the left clicks are going to be doing more damage in general. Yeah, same deal. I mean, that Zarya had a bubble, and you basically gave her full charge from shooting at that bubble the whole time. Just pause, or even reload while she has a bubble up. Because you really should not just be giving the Zarya value for doing the bare minimum. All she's doing is bubbling herself, and you're deciding to feed into it by shooting the bubble. Yeah, same deal. Full bubble. Just gave her like 90 charge there. Notice how when their Zarya sees you bubble, she stops beaming you immediately, and she just walks away. That's what you need to be doing to their Zarya. Here you don't have a team, so you really should just back out, try to retain your charge. Whenever you're playing Zarya, you want to kind of keep your charge as high as possible. So even if the fight's going south, rather than what most tanks do, which is kind of like just die or like try to get as many kills as you can, Zarya actually wants to stay alive so that she can be stronger for the next fight. And she can get some charge for the next fight and just be a threat overall. Because then you don't have to waste your first two bubbles to retain to gain any kind of charge like you do here. Here you have to use both your bubbles, and because you use both your bubbles, you are now a target since they know you used two bubbles basically immediately. Okay. So we're just playing Zarya. Cool. Another thing, instead of just running around punching walls, you could be lining up alt fire shots at the spawn door just to get yourself additional alt charge here. Here they're having a Junkrat and a Bastion. I mean, that's going to be really high charge for your Zarya. So honestly, you should be trying to identify where the Junkrat's going to shoot and just stand there and get some alt charge. Like, we saw 2 or 3 grenades go through this choke here, and we have not used a bubble yet. You need to be using it while they're keeping their distance, so you're able to get this charge. So when they push in, you'll have not only charge, but also 2 bubbles. And we have yet to use a bubble. Okay. There's the first bubble. But you see, if we used a bubble for the Junkrat, and then we used a bubble when we decided to use that bubble, we'd already have 90 charge, and we'd be a threat. Here we're, like, getting there, but, like, we could have already been there, and they wouldn't have even pushed through the choke yet. Okay, we are very much tunnel vision. Do we not see that there's like an Ana and a Juno here that we can be pressuring instead of we're running around playing Ring Around the Rosie with a Bastion? Wow, it's crazy. It's crazy because this is why you target the supports first, because if the supports are double pocketing anybody, that person's not going to die. And you probably could have alt fired to confirm the kill probably a little bit quicker. Yeah, I mean, you did literally half the Ana's health and you didn't decide to turn on the Ana. That's crazy. And then here... Yeah, if you, like, literally alt-fired at all while he was in this area, but you decided just to try to track beam, so he gets out. Like, literally any right-click would have bursted him down past his health barrier, and then he would have died.
My armaments are ready.
Helping you out.
You see, that was good. The second bubble wasn't needed, but the first bubble was great. You know, you got your charge. They're not close to you at all, so you're going to get your bubbles back. It's going to be good for you. The second bubble was a little bit missed because you easily can see these Junkrat projectiles and just stand in the way and absorb that and have 90 charge. But you didn't really do that.
Stop the payload.
Okay, obviously you knew that you weren't going to get your bubble in time, so you probably should have just bubbled someone else. A lot of Zaryas are not using their allied bubbles at all. You need to help your team once you're full charge. You need to be there to help them whenever they're getting pressured by stuff. Also, in low ranks, your team's going to be feeding a majority of the time anyway. And if your team's feeding, it's going to be even more value for Zarya because you're going to be able to help your team from feeding. And you're going to get charged for it. But yeah, those poor bubbles have caused you basically to lose all of your charge here. There's us with our high reload habit. Again. Could have bubbled our Bastion right in front of us, but we chose not to. Instead we bubble ourselves, which wasn't really needed since we were full health and they weren't focus firing us. Okay, another thing. I guess they're using nano, so that's okay. Good. Oh my god, the first allied bubble. But it was an ultimate, so we kind of die anyways. High reload is a common problem. Yeah, I mean, we're definitely reloading a bunch. Our bubble usage is you know, really poor. I'm not seeing any kind of shoot, burst, shoot, fire. The sensitivity is too high. Like, the tracking's a little bit jittery. We're not using, like, any natural cover. We're just letting a Bastion absolutely shoot into us. We're tunnel vision on the tank too much. There's the first time I've seen you actually be a pressure to the supports. Okay. Yep, exactly, Bob. A lot of S-key movement, not really deciding to hold ground on corners. I mean, even here, it looks like you're just gonna back off, and they might even, like, just cap because you never actually contest the point. Hard to tell. We're reloading after every ult fire. You do not need to do that. Here we are standing without cover. Use the payload here. Look at this. Look at this. You just stand right here. You cannot get shot if you stand right here. Instead, you're standing right here. And then you're like, ah, shoot, my bubble ran out. Stand here. This is still good. They can't do anything to you if you stand here. But you're like, nah, I'm gonna back up because that's gonna block the line of sight. Backing up never blocks line of sight, chat. You gotta use cover. You gotta hide on the opposite side. You know, use the cover so that you don't end up getting melted. If you hide in cover, your team's gonna be able to heal you while you're slowly, and yeah, they're gonna peek around, they're gonna walk around places, but at least your team's gonna be sustaining you, so you're still gonna be full health, and they're gonna be wasting abilities, you know, before you get into the cover. So you will have less high output damage when you decide when they end up shooting you around the cover. So yeah, that's probably the loss. Oh? Does Ana clutch up? Oh, I guess it's a Kiri, actually. Does Kiri clutch up? Looks like Kiri clutched up. Nice. Okay, we look a little lost. No, you can't hold that corner. Okay. I don't know if you took the Graviton Surge, she can boop herself higher. But if you did, you could probably take this and boop yourself up here. If you didn't, yeah, you can't get up there then. And you're just going to have to bubble whoever does. But you probably had a better chance standing here and lobbing your shots in than whatever you're trying to do over here. He's not going to come out back. Why would he? Why does he need to? And you kind of wasted both of your bubbles there, unfortunately. And your grab. And, okay, we're on point. Yeah, I mean, here you literally just don't have bubbles because you wasted your abilities. And you actually backed off. You almost didn't even contest point because of the S key. That's crazy. Your Ashe is literally contesting point for you. That's crazy. You're just gonna give it to him? Oh. Yeah, there you decided to walk forward. Did you need to walk forward? Not at all. You know, you're holding point. There's a Bastion in turret form. You don't need to run forward. Literally just sit there and chill. And yeah, so they end up capping. Oh, man. Yeah, so, in general, things that I'm seeing, natural cover needs to be used. We're not holding corners. Our abilities are poor. We're reloading constantly. Unbind your reload button, to be honest. Your sensitivity is too high, so even then, you're over aiming. We aren't popping bubbles early. I think that's a big one. You need to pop your bubbles early before the fight's really happening. There's 3 stages of the fight. There's the poke phase, which is usually when like Junkrat's just lobbing grenades in. You know, everyone else is just lobbing shots. They don't really have any motive yet. There's the mid fight, which is when the tanks are more or less right next to each other and attacking. And then there's like end game, which is usually when people are popping ults. Or end fight, or people are cleaning up. During the poke phase, the first phase, you need to be popping bubbles so you can get charged, so when the mid fight happens, you actually are a threat. I'm saying you use your bubbles in the mid fight only, so they already have an advantage on you in the early, in the poke phase, which is not good. I think on defense, you need to stand your ground a little bit more. Use the natural cover, especially if it's a payload. Use the natural cover of payload. A lot of people do not use the natural cover of payload, and that's why teams feel really good at attacking and really bad on defense, because the defensive team will more or less back up until it's overtime. and then they'll actually have to fight something. Honestly, I think that's what I got for you. So, I do hope that helps.